Welcome back to an episode of Brews and Business. Today it's Abel and I. We're gonna have a lot of catch up. What's up, man?
What's up? We got Devin finally behind the thing with the mic.
Behind the mic. He's gonna be like the ghost cat.
Yeah.
In the background. Pretty cool. So I want to remind y'all about our official roaster of the podcast, Breedon Coffee Roasters. They're based out of Owasso, Oklahoma. They roast to order. So you order it, he roasts it, and then ships it. So it's as fresh as you can get it. And if you live here in Tulsa and you want to pick it up and get it even faster and even fresher, you can do that as well too. You can go to the website, brewsandbiz.com. Go down towards the bottom. You'll see that there's a whole section about it where you can learn about Breedon Coffee Roasters. It's an amazing story. The guy, it's him and his son. They lost their mom, and he has a passion for coffee. And this is one of the ways he helps supplement income for his house. And he's got a big passion for coffee, and so do we. I mean, more or less.
Most people.
So anyways, so use code Brews for 10% off your first order. We have right now the Ethiopian origin. That will be for another 2 to 3 more weeks. And then we'll be introducing a Costa Rica. I will let you guys know about that when that time comes. And then here in front of me, not only do we have the Ethiopian, but we've also got the Nicaraguan as well. Both of those are fantastic. On our website too, you'll find the official Brews and Business merch, both including the pint glass if you like the beer, or the can cooler if you, well, I guess you could use that for beer too. I like to use it for iced coffees, my opinion. So today, it's like I said, Abel and I doing a lot of catch up.
Yeah.
Letting you guys know what we're up to. Answering some questions between each other.
Sure.
I got some things to catch up on.
Yeah. And
then, of course, we're going to do our Diary of a CEO conversation cards. And we're sipping on some whiskey.
Sipping on some good whiskey. Thank you.
This is
Campfire something?
Campfire. Oh, my God. I'm drawing a complete blank on the brand. They're from, like, Ohio or something. I don't know. It's really, really
delicious.
Good. Yeah. Cheers. So
delicious. Devin, what do you think?
Can we get a tink in there? There we go. It's good. It's good.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
It's got a good tinge.
Yeah, right?
I saw this.
I think last time you even put a little smoke into it. It was good.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I read this. I got this text message of this answer from Google. Do you know what happens if you fart in a scuba suit? We're going to do an icebreaker. Do you know what happens? Take a guess. Devin, you got a guess? Abel?
I already know because you showed me.
Okay, no, but hold on.
You didn't show me what like live action was. You showed me.
I'm going to assume like the fart goes to your face or something. I don't know.
Farting is possible while scuba diving, but not advisable because diving wetsuits are very expensive, and the explosive force of an underwater fart will rip a hole in your wetsuit. An underwater fart will shoot you up to the surface like a missile, which can cause decompression sickness because you went up too fast.
Okay.
That is an actual answer from Google.
Okay. I don't know how accurate that answer is from Google,
but I love it.
It seems, but it's a good answer. It's a good icebreaker. Okay. I'm not sure I'd ever even, I probably wouldn't be focused on farting when I'm scuba diving. I mean, I've never been, but like whenever I'm swimming, I don't usually need to like fart or anything.
You've never done that in the water?
I mean, yes, but it's not like, dude, if I'm scuba diving, I'm pretty focused on it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I would imagine.
It's not a thought I've ever thought about, if I'm being honest.
Hey, have you done your BOI yet with Vincent?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No.
The federal
something.
Hold on. What is it? I didn't abbreviate. Federal something network.
You don't even know what
Financial Crimes Network, some shit like that. You didn't hear about that? The business owners information.
Yeah, we were supposed to figure that out in like the first of the year with the
You have until January 1st. After that, it's $500 a day fine.
Yeah, well, you told me that last time, and I talked to my CPA, and you know what he said?
What?
F it. You'll be fine. And you know what? We'll get some more information about it here soon. And now that you bring it up, I'll ask him again.
But, I went ahead and did it.
Well, I didn't want to. He's like, I don't know. You can do it. I'm like, I'm going to pay you to do it. He's like, we don't do it. I'm like, well, whenever you guys do it, if you think it's important enough, we'll do it. But I don't know what it is. Maybe what
it's more of a legal standpoint than it is of an accountant standpoint. I would ask a lawyer.
Why do you always have to be so difficult?
I'm just saying. An accountant, this has nothing to do with the IRS.
Okay.
This has to do with crimes and legal shit.
Well,
But you're not doing any crimes. Neither am I.
Brown. But they might try to pin a crime on me because I'm brown. I try to stay out of the system.
You're already in it. You got a driver's license?
Don't remind me. Yeah, they got my fingerprints.
Dude, you know the stuff they can find out about you just by your phone number?
Yeah. Have you done it to yourself?
No, it's deeper than what you can just find out from Googling it. Like,
well,
looked on the back end. I know someone that is and deep in law enforcement, and they looked up my phone number and my first name, and then they showed my ex-wife's sister's side of the family of who I could have had a relationship with. It goes that deep.
Cool.
They showed like all my addresses, all my phone numbers. It was more in depth than a credit report. It was crazy.
You know what? All these cameras in here, man. All these cameras everywhere. Everybody knows where we are all the time. Look, you got cameras everywhere, dude.
I do. So
somebody can hack it and bam.
That BOI with FinCEN is supposed to help you establish trust with legitimate businesses and business owners, contributes to understanding risk exposure in relation to, for like example, higher risk jurisdictions, sanctioned individuals, or politically exposed persons. And it can help reveal when an entity sits outside risk tolerance so the relationship can be ended. BOI can also direct the level of monitoring required to limit risk and reporting issue efficiently. So I don't know if that relates to it at all, but this is part of the U.S. Corporate Transparency Act that happened in September of 2022 when FinCEN finalized that rule that they want every business owner to do it. I think it's really defined who's setting up these multiple entities and having money launder between them too. You know,
maybe that's why you need to do it, because you have multiple entities.
Even they want you to, even if you have one, even if you just have one entity.
I know, but they can't point a finger just at you. Then that looks fishy. So you got to point the finger at everybody.
You're right. So accurate data about beneficial ownership makes it harder for wrongdoers to hide behind or benefit from opaque ownership structures. Right. Shell companies, for example, can be used to disguise illicit activities, and the money generated from them that can be difficult and time-consuming to identify patterns of shell company risk without access to beneficial ownership information.
So you're telling me you're not just going to move your money to the Philippines instead of... You're literally going all over
overseas.
Yeah, right. You're literally doing that right now.
Me?
Yeah, kind of.
What are you talking about?
Well, your shelter, or you're not your shelter, your satellite companies, before long you'll be, I just got to fly overseas to deposit some money in some bank. And
we do have a client in Germany, and we have a client in Honduras. Legit clients, bank clients.
Well, no reason not open up a bank out there.
Domestic reporting companies, these are like corporations, LLCs, and other entities. Then you have foreign. So both of those are the two types of companies. Who do you think can access it? Man.
Everybody?
Federal, state, local, tribal. Dang. This goes into that. That's a lot.
See, got to stay off the books.
It's ridiculous. The penalties for violations or misreporting can be severe. Penalties up to $500 for each day of continuing violation, and criminal penalties can include up to 2 years of imprisonment and $10,000 fines. Currently, mistakes or omissions can be corrected within 90 days. If you start an LLC or start a business, you have 30 or 90 days, something like that. I think it's 30 days. Pretty sure it's 30 days to fill out BOI and let FinCEN know that you have a business now.
Who's FinCEN? Is that like Benson? Isn't that his name? The guy from Futurama? Bender?
Oh, no.
Bender Benson.
FinCEN, about to pull it. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network.
Okay.
Yep.
The more you know about how much you don't know being a business owner.
See, part of me like goes into that and like, that's my like risk to reward valuation. I'm like, I'm just going to take care of that. Before they come back at me and be like, hey, you owe us about $19,000 in fines.
Dude, it says maximum of $10,000, up to $10,000 and 2 years in prison. You're a pretty white boy. You'll be all right. You'll be like Bernie Madoff. It'll be like come on.
Nope.
Let's move on.
Nope. We have a new hire.
Yeah, I know.
2 weeks.
How is she?
She's great. She's fantastic. I Pretty much try to do my due diligence and giving a priority list of things that she can work on over 30 days and making sure that those notes are all updated and accurate. So then there's minimal questions to be asked. It's, hey, I know that you can take care of these. If you need my feedback on them, then we're good. If we need to talk, whatever it is. But outside of that, then she's picked up off everything really, really well.
Nice.
And she found an error in our logo.
Really?
You wouldn't notice it until you look at it. It's the spacing between the S, the O's, and then if you look in between the O and ER, they're not spaced properly. And that even includes in some of the logos that we've got, the M and the S don't align in the beginning and the end.
Well,
you may not care about that directly, but
I had that conversation with my wife today about the guys and the job that they were finishing up on, how I was so proud of them and how I saw so many areas where we improved, but could use massive improvement, but the customer's not going to ever notice. But I notice. And that's why we're the professionals. Because, all of us, it's our job to notice. That's why people hire us. But I would have never noticed. You said you're not going to notice until you look at it, but I still don't even
But
notice
somebody
it.
else in your industry could come along and be like, they do shitty work. Look at all these issues.
Yep. And so I'm sure somebody will eventually.
Well, and everyone will always kind of be a critic on that kind of stuff too,
It is what it is. So your new hire, what does she do?
She's graphic design.
Graphic design, okay.
Part-time. She's a paid intern position right now.
Nice.
3 days a week.
I got a new hire coming.
9 to 12. Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, it's pretty exciting. Got a sales guy coming.
That's a big deal. Finally. You've been
Scary.
working on that for a while.
For a while. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty excited.
When does she start?
He starts August 15th.
Oh,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah. You commission included or what?
We'll do a little bit of like a base salary and then commission on top of that. And we'll kind of see how it goes. And we don't really know how it's going to go, frankly, but here's our guinea pig.
I almost feel like I need to look at you a little bit better.
Like this.
Hold on, we're going to restructure the chairs here a little bit.
Yeah, so he'll be starting August 15th. We're pretty excited. We'll see how it goes. And, ultimately, it's the first time we've hired for this type of position. And, it's hard because I've hired a lot of positions and realized that most of the time, kind of like you said, the checklist aspect, right? Most of the time, I don't really have my ducks in a row for that position. And it's just nice to be able to, this one, I'm overthinking it a little bit more because I feel like I'm more prepared than I was for any other position. But hiring for a laborer is pretty easy. It's like pick up a shovel. Here's how you do this blah, blah, blah. But the sales guy, I'm putting more pressure on myself because it seems more complicated, but it really isn't. And then the commission basis is also kind of weird because we haven't done a pay structure like that before. But I think it's going to be pretty phenomenal because it'll keep him pretty consistent or at least engaged in that sale aspect. And, he has been in the industry a little bit, but it's been 5 years since he's been in the industry.
Like in the landscape or sales industry?
No, just in the landscape industry. So he was in the landscape industry for a few years, but he just mowed. So he doesn't know anything else really other than mowing. And even then, that was a few years ago. That was like 5 years ago, maybe not so long, but it was a few years ago. And then he's been working in a dealership, customer service situation. So we're going to give him a shot and see how it goes. And I'm kind of excited. Ideally, he'll be replacing a lot of what I do to where I can kind of sit back and manage bigger job sites or spend a little bit more time in the visionary role instead of having to be out there selling everything.
That's the first sales guy you have, salesperson.
Yeah. We've tried a couple other options, but I think it's the whole too many hats, too many things going on. And like we hired Lexi, was our most recent hire, right? And that was like 8 months ago. And with her, we made a really good point of like, do not overcomplicate her task. She's got one job, and that's social media, and not just social media, but marketing. She's got to take the pictures, she's got to put it on, she's got to do X, Y, Z. But we tried really hard to not add extra tasks, and she's done great. And with this guy, hiring him on, we're going to do the same thing of like, hey, don't tack on, because we've had other times where, hey, you're a sales guy, but you're also operations.
And you can also do this.
And you're also that. Yeah. And it's like, no, he's going to come on, and this is his job. Like, his job is to sell. And yeah, he's supposed to do certain little fine tune in the field things, but like realistically, you don't expect them to fix anything, to work on anything. It's more like,
is he going to do any like project management, or do you have
another job a little bit, but not really. Not really. That's kind of why I'm so worried about bringing him on, because the way I'm trying to structure the company is the sales guy should be able to sell a project, and if the notes are correct and the SOPs are built from start to finish, then realistically, operations should be able to take that project, those notes, and make the outcome come out. So one of those things that we're working on, so like perspective is drainages are relatively easy to bid, and you just got to learn a little bit of how it works and so on and so forth. So we're going to build our first SOP this coming week. It's kind of why I need your office. But we're going to build our first SOP and kind of do our process for what we want that to look like on one of our easiest processes. Because then according to all of our sales cheat sheets that I already have, and then all the pretty much what we've already done, we can build it to where our new sales guy kind of even understands the process that goes into building the drainage without ever having to physically go out there and do it. Now, he's signing up for still going out there and having to do that sometimes because, well, he's my little brother, so I'm like, got to do some shit sometimes. But it's also good for them to learn, to understand how long it actually takes for projects to get done. Because, realistically speaking, sometimes people don't understand how much work goes into something. I know, like, I was talking to Devin a little bit ago, and he was like, there was a job that seemed really complicated to him. And I'm like, it's easy, dude. Super easy. This is all you need. And it's like, oh, yeah, but there's knowledge base behind that. And it's like, well, that comes with experience. And with this guy coming on, he's not going to know, any of that. It's pretty new. But
once you create the line out of instructions for your SOPs,
becomes easier.
That's what I've got.
Right.
And it's almost like a playbook for everyone.
Right.
Right. And so I pretty much got that laid out for the most part. There's some tweaks and stuff in there I think we'll probably wind up making here in the next 6 months. But I'm making visual components of those.
Right.
And the visual, we'll be able to see high level. Oh, stage 1 through 7, stage 1 through 10, stage 1 through 4, whatever that is in the different departments. And won't be so detailed, but at least we'll have a visual component to go, oh, in this stage, we make sure X, Y, and Z is done.
Right.
And then also in some of these larger agencies, they have those visual components as a part of their proposals or presentations. And they have those in some of their books or on their website and stuff like that. And so I want to make sure that I have those visual representations for when clients ask or whatever. I say, this is what our process looks like.
Right.
And this is why we do it this way, or, hey, this is where you come in because I need to make sure you look at it before something happens, or whatever that process looks like. Right.
So that's funny you say that, because I actually had Lexi, that was kind of one of my ideas. I hit her with the other day. I was like, hey, I want like an expectation pamphlet is what I told her. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I want a pamphlet that when I go meet a brand new customer, I can leave not just a card, but a pamphlet that kind of says like, hey, these are our core values. This is kind of how our process works. And it could be super open-ended. I mean, how long does this project take? Well, depending on how big this project is, it could take 2 weeks, or it could take a couple of hours to, 2 months, or how long, XYZ. It could be super open-ended. But it starts to set an expectation, and it's visual, and it's paper, something they can hold, right? It's a whole experience you start to create for people. But it does really work. And like you said, some of the larger agencies, we're trying to create the same thing in our business. It's just like, hey, we're not just your average, because even then, no, hey, man, but there's your average everything, right? So for me, there's the $25, $35 an hour mow guy. It's got no logos, single truck. It's just him and his brother or whatever. That was me. So that's why I'm saying that. And his brother out there working, and then eventually he's logoed, got a couple trucks, kind of gets familiar. But then there's the guys that we're trying to take it a little bit next level. You're not selling a service anymore. You're selling a whole experience, right? And that's where you start to realize that those visuals, as you said, like, they really make a difference. And it's like, does it really do or say anything? No, not really. But it makes the customer feel good. And not only that, it makes you feel good as a sales guy. Like, hey, I've got shit to hand out that makes me feel prepared. I've got a pen with my name on it. I've got a card with my name on it. I got pamphlets. And not only that, in your spiel, it might help him, like for my sales guy, it might help him kind of, hey, oh man, it's kind
open
of
it up.
right.
And, hey, look, as we talk about it. And
right.
You should have a pamphlet for the irrigation and like landscape design and install. Those would be like 2 really good ones to have, I think.
Well, I think we're going to have just one pamphlet that has like so the biggest issue that I find is people are always like, you don't work Fridays. I'm like, we don't work Fridays. I'm like, oh. And it's like, well, I don't tell people that till after I close the job, right? Because obviously, like, that's a weird conversation. But then when they're like, why don't you work Fridays? I'm like, well, Fridays we kind of have owners meetings. We kind of have some high level company meetings. We do material runs. Like today, had like $2,500 worth of material returned. I had some material picked up. I got some trailers cleaned out. Like there was a lot of office work that
to get ready for the next
ready
week.
for the next week,
Oh.
right? And then whenever you explain that to them, they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. And at first, people are like, what the hell? They're kind of turned off by that. But it's like, well, but if you gave them a pamphlet that kind of explained all that, they're kind of looking over it. They're not going to look it over at the moment, but that's questions that you don't necessarily have to answer. And again, it sets expectations to where on Fridays, like today, I went and met with a customer. I did a mid-job walkthrough. Our job's almost done, and it's honestly, I'm so proud of the guys. But met with the customer, and that's kind of all incorporated into the job. And I more or less sold another probably $2,000 worth of work just by going to meet with the customer today. That will finish up next week. But all of that is kind of built into the process that I'm going to train our new sales guy, which I have structured to all that, which I call them touch points and our steps to success and so on and so forth. But really the reason I'm worried is because it's going to show a lot of our faults in the operating part of the company.
Yep. When you start ramping up.
Right. But that's okay. Cause
you need that.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. And my brother and I have been having some really good owners meetings. We've been having owners meetings every week instead of every like month or every so often. And man, the owners meetings every week have been phenomenal. Like sometimes we just bullshit. Sometimes we actually talk about really good stuff.
Really?
But the business has done a 180 since we started having them. It's been awesome. Yeah.
But me and the Madisons are working on, we'll be starting in the next few weeks working on the Oklahoma City satellite office and the Dallas Fort Worth area satellite office. We're officially coast to coast. I'm on the maps in San Diego and in North Carolina. So California and North Carolina.
Nice.
So that's cool to brag on.
Yeah, that's that's kind of a big deal. I saw on your board, Texas, Plano.
That's so I was thinking about Plano or Grand Prairie in Texas.
That's cool.
So,
Plano's
but they're helping me with that. We're calling that the expansion project. And we're working on training and commission structure.
Yeah.
And so there's plenty of different ways that companies do commissions. The tiered thing is sounds reasonable. The margin one, can't keep track of each and every individual sale and what's the profit on that.
Like, for you, it's a little difficult.
If I was to sell a bottle of whiskey, easy, no problem.
Well, and see, that's my thing. I can sell the job, and I can job cost each individual job. So the one things we can't is our annual contracts for maintenance, and that's where it gets a little tricky. But like outright, our contract or our base offered him is going to be $12,000 a year, which is $230 a week, next to nothing. Like that sucks, honestly. But commission if it's an ARC generated lead. So I'm going to make him be a part of BNI, a couple of other things, right? But if that lead comes through dot services or anything that we're making you be a part of, you get 3% commission off total profits.
I like that idea.
And then if you bring it to the company yourself, however, knocking on a door, making cold calls, whatever you want to do, you'll get 10% commission off total profits. But then we have annual contracts, which are annual contracts are for maintenance. And it's like, well, this dude's not going to wait a whole year to figure out the profit margins. Right. So we're like, hey, you know what? On those, we'll offer 1.5% of the total job bid, whether it makes a profit or not, because on the other ones, you have to make at least a 15% profit or else you don't get paid. So it really puts in structure to where he kind of understands that profit is one of the most important things of the business. But at the same time, like, man, if you learn how to do your job right, if you learn the expectations right, and so on and so forth, it's really a no-brainer. You should be able to make money fairly easy. And all the jobs that we're putting him on should be really easy to measure and make money. Like they're already basically standard operating procedures. They're almost jobs that you just send the guys and they know what they're doing. So there really shouldn't be anything that goes wrong on these jobs. But nonetheless, he's got to learn, and it'll be interesting to see how he manages customers and so on and so forth. I just remember I used to sell customers a $5,000 job, and I was like, oh my God, they're never going to spend that kind of money with me. And then they would. And I don't know what his involvement around money and so forth. But I'm like, for me, I'm like, man, if I sell anything less than like a $20,000 job anymore, I'm like, damn, that sucked. I could have done better. We could have probably got 40 or 50 grand out of that, but different levels. And that's why we need Aaron to come in, because we need someone to come in and take that smaller stuff. Because as we're scaling, as we're building, we can't just let go of those people. We got to fill the schedule, you know?
Yep.
But it's pretty exciting.
So Madison's my, outside of Anna, the graphic designer, Madison's my newest hire. And so she's title-wise marketing administrator, and she does a fantastic job at her job. She's definitely overqualified. I learned that 60 to 90 days in. She's just about 90 days in. So just in the last 30 days, I'm like, you're overqualified. I need to figure out how to fire you from your position and move you into something else. And she's told me, she's like, I would love to be more like something accounts management, project management sort of thing. She's very organized. She's very on the ball. She's quick responsive. She does a lot of really great things. But really, her primary job now is like, I need to make sure that we pay our bills, pay our vendors, and I need to make sure we get paid. And not that we just get paid, but make sure that we're charging clients for the right things, for the right amounts, at the right times. Every week, there's several changes in billing. There's something that someone's coming on, or something's being paused, or something hasn't been paid yet, or we need to pay something. So like, there's always money fluctuating in and out every week. You understand that too. And that's very time consuming to do by yourself. So she has been a grace. Awesome. Yes. Our first 30 days, we spent a lot of time together, and we tried to work on creating whatever our rhythm would look like to like stay in touch. Because when it comes to like some decisions that are kind of like beyond what she's would be responsible for, if I go out and buy something, or if I like acquired a loan, like how she's supposed to know, and she's supposed to know, like, what's that for? What's my intentions? How are we supposed to do that? Whatever that communication looks like, you get that. You've been doing that for a while. And so now we talk like once a week and stuff like that. Every Monday after our Monday meeting, her and I get together for 30 minutes. We look over all the balances for bank balances and credit card balances, and what's our AR for the remaining AR and AP for the month. You know, how much do we still owe and how much are we still waiting to receive? And hopefully get that to dwindle down to close to zero as possible on both of those. That means we've received everything we're expecting to, and that means we've paid everything we're expecting to. And then hopefully the balances should be fluctuating and slowly going up. Right. Once a month too, still doing the profit first thing. So still taking out, now I'm taking out 2.5%. It was 2. So now I'm doing 2.5, and I'm putting that in profit, tax, rainy day. I've got a goal now of 200,000 or 150,000, but 200,000 would be ideal. That would give me $1 million budget, purchasing power budget, to $1.5 million to buy or build property. 10% there. High five.
You'll get it. It's all just work. It's all just time.
So that's the goal for in almost 2 years.
Nice.
So 2026, summer of 2026, that's the goal for us to do that. And I'm not going to spoil it too much, but we're coming up with some ideas for a coffee shop. This is what we've got. You ready? Drum roll. Creative Grounds.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. We've got a lot of different ideas too, but Creative Grounds for a coffee shop. Actually do a coffee shop.
Okay.
Storefront and shit and everything.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I like it.
The studio.
Are you trying to find like jobs for your
in
kids?
the same building? Okay. And the agency upstairs.
I like it.
Agency upstairs, coffee shop on one side, studio on the other, soundproofed walls, ceilings. You know, do something similar like this. This is the studio here has been a blessing. It's been great. Didn't have to really pay for any of this remodel. You know, landlord's been awesome. But we'll all outgrow this spot within the next year and a half. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to start daydreaming about what that stuff looks like in 2 years, so that I can kind of start setting that vision, not just setting the vision, but also applies budget and everything else too.
Right.
So, but Madison, back to that, Madison and both Madisons are helping me out with some of the training and stuff. And with Madison being Maddie's been with us for about 2.5 years. Madison is newest. So Madison, she's the marketing administrator. She's, I asked her, I was like, hey, so you're really the newest person here, and you're the only person that is inundated as you are. You're right below me. Like, there's nobody else here that really knows who's doing what, when they're doing it, what we're paying, what the money looks like, how is everything being managed, where to locate everything. Like, luckily, so if I something happened to me, both of the Madisons would take over. Maddie and Madison would take over, and they would do great. And so that gives me a little bit of comfort. But then also, I know that there's a couple roles that I'm fulfilling. That's kind of like account projects, management, and then sales. So those are my two next kind of like, need to find something to fix that with. And so I was asking him, like, you took 90 days to get to this point to where you told me, hey, I feel really comfortable. Like, what else can I do? Like, I feel like I'm really caught up or whatever. And I understand everything. Like, how can we do that in less than 30 days? Because 90 days is a long time. How can we comfortably do that with somebody in a sales position? So you understand a lot of this stuff. So how can we take out some of the things that person doesn't need to understand and really just highlight, here are the 3 to 5 things that person really needs to get a grasp on, And then create the time to be able to train and the materials and go bam, 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 go. And they're like, I'm going. This is great. I feel comfortable.
Yeah, right. Not only that, but the
90 days is so long because you've paid not 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 at least 8 to 10 payroll processed time, taxes, computers, whatever else.
I mean, I guess it depends. For me, 90 days seems to be like a good number, but it's a different industry.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to have to wait 90 days for them to be like, oh, I'm comfortable in my spot. You're trying to wait.
No, for
Quick Trip
sure.
does it in 2 weeks.
And I get that, but
if you don't get it, they fire you.
And I get that, but it's a different world.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
And I feel like for a small business, 90 days really isn't terrible. Think about how many small businesses don't have a number at all. Like, you're hired eventually. You're hired.
Just okay, help.
So what do? You're just going to do what I tell you to do.
Yeah,
what's my job? What's my, like, how long was it before? Like, we were there not too long ago, realistically, like you were probably there not as long as I was, but that's the truth. And it's like, well, 90 days isn't that terrible. I have a 90-day probation period, which isn't necessarily, hey, 90 days to get you trained, but it's 90 days to see how you are as a person. Like, within 90 days, life's going to kick you in the ass. You're going to get tired. You're going to get whatever that is. And I'm going to see who you really are as a person. Mm-hmm. And then I figure out how your training goes.
90 days is a standard probationary period for most jobs that you start at.
Right.
By 90 days, if you don't get it,
you're gone.
You're gone. You know what I mean?
Should be gone. Hell,
so that's where, again, like, you can't just wait 90 days for them to get it.
I feel
you need them to get it as soon as possible. If they hit all those core value marks, that you should try to get as much understanding of that as you can. Sometimes you can really vibe that out in an interview.
Right.
Oh my God. Like, in 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, we're vibing or not. First few words out of your mouth and out of mine and how we're conversating, I'm like, you're not. There's something different.
Right.
But yeah, I think first 30 days, you should be pretty well knowledgeable on your position.
I agree for sure.
For
sure.
And then fairly remaining 60 days.
Confident in your position for sure.
Yeah.
And then, I would give you that.
Right.
60 days, you're really honing in and ideally running into any other roadblocks you may have run into for the next year or so. Yeah. And asking questions and so on and so forth. Yeah, I would agree with that.
One of the things that I accomplished too over the last few months was the staff has new computers. And we've got an IT company now that manages all the security stuff. We've had dozens of attacks.
What does that look like, and what is that
and stuff?
What does that look like as far as finances, and not only finances but time and what does that look like? Because we've talked about doing something like that at the office.
So most IT companies will charge based on endpoints and users. So they'll monitor email traffic in and out for like spam. If you click on a link, it checks every single link. It checks every single file. So just in case, it hits your computer and you download it, whatever you click on it. And even so, it goes through email. So it doesn't necessarily have to attach to a cell phone or device because it's embedded through the email. And so if I click on an email on my phone, on a tablet, on an iPad, whatever it is,
make sure it's safe.
It just reroutes it through the security thing and then sends me wherever it needs to go. So that's cool. And then endpoint security too. So like the actual devices are being constantly monitored. I mean, not in a Big Brother way, but in a way where it's like, oh, something did bypass whatever it was. We have a firewall now, so that's another portion. So, like if someone can hack our computers through a printer or through a smart TV or through a Ring camera, and we would never know. There's a lot of crazy stuff like that. So between the firewall, the device, the emails, several of those things. So they charge per user on the emails, per account, and then they charge one flat rate for the firewall, which is part of the network, and then they charge a rate per device. So let's say the user and the device, Devin has one device, Devin has one user. That's about $70 a month. Which I asked 2 other IT companies if that was fair, and they're like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." Some are higher, some are lower, but do you get any reports? Do you get any support frequency? What does that stuff look like? And gave them the answers. Like, yeah, I mean, I can text, I can call, I can email. I've got a little support ticket button. I get quick responses, and shout out T-Town Tech. And then I get monthly reports on like, hey, here's how many times people have tried to attack your devices in your network, and here's what we've done to help prevent that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes it real. To kind of understand like what stuff looks and sound like. So, I mean, that's nice.
That's cool.
It's almost like a
server type setup too.
I don't have a server. No, so we're all cloud based.
Okay.
Yeah. So my thing, like,
and
with
they
the
help
server,
you set up with that, or how did that? You did that before?
Yeah, I've set up all the. Well, I mean, we use Google Drive, Google Workspace.
Okay.
So all of our stuff. So we could chunk any one of our computers and gone.
Well,
the other thing that was a big issue is our drive wasn't backed up. So our entire terabytes of files are backed up, layered 3 times, whatever that means. So,
well, I say that because last time you were talking about how if somebody buys an app, everybody has an app or something like that.
And then
is that part of the T-Town?
So because they're all Apple devices, I have an Apple Business Manager account.
Mm-hmm.
So that means like if they lose their device, I can have it remotely locked and erased. So if they did download a credit card payment form, or they scanned one in and said, if Madison did that or whatever, there's no worry of them having an IT buddy to hack it or do whatever. I don't know. So that's cool. And then, like the app thing. So like if Devin and Maria both use a premium version of CapCut, I just have to buy it once, and like, that's cool. I can just subscribe once and then they both get it, sort of thing. Just some cool features like that, which is nice.
Cool.
So I can make it to where all the computers have standard settings. So like I can make it to where they all have they can all connect to the same Wi-Fi network. They can all have a certain screen that opens up. Whenever they open up their computer, it says, "Hey, welcome to Sooner Marketing." There's something cool like that or whatever. I don't know. There's some cool like little features to kind of like really give it like a I don't know, vibe. I hope it doesn't go too corporate, but I'm more in the tech industry than you are.
Right. And I just
I have to be more wary of
because of the app situation, and there's a lot of technology we use. Reality is, I mean, there's a lot of us that use a computer every day, all day, every day. But right, you just use more of that.
We got our phone system set up. You ready for this one?
Call cannot be completed.
Hold on. Wrong number.
Wow, I thought it was fixed. Dude, we got to cut that out. All right, Devin?
Cut that out.
Cut it.
Wrong number. There we go.
Unbelievable.
Hello, and thank you for calling Sooner Marketing. Building a brand starts right here.
Para español, presione el asterisco.
Oh, God. Got us.
So then you press star. I just did
Hola,
this.
y gracias por llamar a Sooner Marketing.
Is that
Construir tu
Maria?
marca empieza aquí. Por favor, escucha atentamente las siguientes opciones para que podamos dirigir tu llamada al miembro del equipo.
So we made a Spanish line.
Yeah.
Because we're going into the more Hispanic community and taking more initiative on that. And a lot of that inspiration is coming from Maria. And I've said it too. I'm like, her and I both talked, and we're like, this community is so underserved. And a lot of that community has really relied on word of mouth. And while that's great, because it's been a fairly smaller portion up until the recent years, or portion or whatever,
Right.
up until recent years. And so with it being a growing market, there's going to become an issue for these businesses to need to survive. They can only survive for so long on word of mouth, and it become a scalability issue. So So her and I are working together to work with the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce and the Lobeck Taylor Foundation and Mother Road Market to get more involved on the Hispanic market.
Nice.
So that's fun.
I ate there yesterday.
Where?
Mother Road.
Oh my God! What is it? Chicken in the Wolf that's there?
Where? I don't know. What do we eat? We ate Zazas. Well, the kids ate Zazas, and then there was a K something, some plantain Honduras place in that. You know how they have that one spot that's always like a up and coming restaurant. We always pick to eat there.
Did you try the pickle pizza at Zaza's?
No, the kids ate the pizza. I didn't care for the pizza, but I always pick that one little thing that's a hole in the wall because I always like to support the people that haven't quite made it yet. You know, I remember what that was like, so I always just pick whatever's like their favorite, their recommended. And yesterday it was kind of funny because the lady was like trying to tell me, "Hey, there's this in there, there's that." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. She's like, "Well, there's octopus." I was like, "That's cool." She's like, "You're sure?" I was like, "Just make it how it fucking comes. Let me eat it." You know, and it was delicious. I mean, would I pick it again? No, it wasn't what I wanted yesterday. It was too hot. It was too meaty, and I wanted something a little fresher. But you know, I asked for it, and you know, they did a great job. So,
dude, this pizza shop in North Carolina, out in Greensboro, which I'm so glad we have a place to go out there now. It's fantastic. It's so OG. The people barely speak English. They're so Italian. You know that shit's good. Like if you go to Taco Bell.
Bro, don't hate on my Taco Bell. Those Doritos Locos Tacos is
But
where it's at.
Yeah, no, it's legit. But if you go to Taco Bell versus you go to a hole in the wall Mexican restaurant,
I know.
It's day and night difference, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Day and night difference.
Absolutely.
You know, a burrito's not just a burrito.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. All right. You ready for these?
Hit me.
All right. So if you guys don't know, these are now it's time for our Diary of the CEO conversation cards here too. And the whole point of these is to continuously drive connection as humans. So these cards that we've pulled out, we just started this a few podcasts ago. They've been designed to help empower and stimulate raw, honest, unfiltered conversation like we've never known before. All right, I pulled one. Is it okay? Or do you want to pull it?
No, go for it.
Okay. We'll run these and then call it.
Let's do it.
All right. What would you like to pay attention to that you don't currently pay attention to, and why? What do you like to pay attention to that you don't currently pay attention to, and why? I'm so obsessed with work. I'd like to pay more attention to my kids.
That's I think that's my
I'm
answer.
Such a hard work mode right now. It's ridiculous.
I had a conversation with Kylie yesterday. I think that's my same answer, but I'm not gonna say my kids. I'm gonna say to my life at home, my home life. You know, I was talking to my wife the other day, and you know, we find ourselves in this position. I know we all us three can feel it because we got young kids, but you find yourselves in this position where, and maybe not, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, where she's at home and her job is the house, and I go to work and my job is work, and she wants me to be at home with her in her work, but she's at work. So she doesn't turn off. She's at work and I'm off, you know? So I'm like, hey, just calm down. Like, you don't got to do that. Just hang out with me. She doesn't want to. She's at work. She's got to do the laundry. She's got to do the dishes. She's got to cook dinner. And I'm like, okay, well, and that makes sense. But in that moment, I'm thinking there's work I need to be doing at work or around the house, not necessarily just being, right?
Neither one of you are there present,
but then
ready to engage with each other because you're
right. But then I'm like, hey, but I want you to be a part of my life and be a part of my business, and you can be, you know, so I want you to be a part of that. And the problem with that is when she's with me, what does she do? Nothing. And then the kids do nothing. They're stuck in the truck for like 6 hours while I'm working. Like, that's no fun. We get to get out and have lunch, and then you're stuck back in the truck for more. Like, it just sucks. Anyways, and she's thinking, well, I should be at home. There's work that I need to be doing at work. And my answer goes back to that because it's like, what I really want to pay attention to is just, I'd like to figure out how to immerse our lives together, you know? And I told my wife, like, the one option is to send the kids to school. I mean, our kids aren't old enough to send them to school yet, and I really don't want to do that. But one option is to send the kids to school. And you know what? When we send the kids to school, we work. Me and you, we work together. We work together for the same company. We do the same job. Like, we just work. And if that means we go home and we clean the house for an hour, well, that's the work we do for an hour. And if that means we go to the office or we pay bills or we go to the nursery or whatever, like, that's just the work we do. And the kids go to school and we go to work. I think that's an option. And then it goes down to like, okay, well, is that really the option you want to pick, and so on and so forth. But I don't really know. But I'm going to agree with that. I think I just would like to pay more attention to my home life and try to figure out how to incorporate it into my life. My wife has her work. I have my work. But I'd like it to just be our work, our life, our everything. I'm tired of the separation of like, and it's a season that I don't think we can get through. And, I'm sure you understand it. I know Devin understands it, and a lot of times the assumption of them of like, hey, well, you have all this autonomy at your business, at your work, and you should be able to be home all the time. And it's like, and I do, and like I told Kyla the other day, I was like, it's hard because when I, like, who's holding you accountable to do the laundry, to do the dishes, to, nobody's making you do it. But what's your mentality? Well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Well, the kids got to eat. So the laundry's got to be done. Well, she's like, well, yeah, but you need clothes. I'm like, right. But I'm not telling you to do it. You feel the need to do it because it needs to be done because you're showing love. It's like, that's the same reason I get up and go to work. You think I want to go to work every day? No. But like, I drag my ass to work because I got to pay the bills. I got to do this. You think I want to work all day long and go home and pick up a mower and go mow the yard and stuff? Like, no, none of us want to do that. But it's like, we're in that season where it's just like, man, you kind of forget. Like, this is beautiful time to have the family. You're young and so on and so forth. But I would definitely like to pay attention to more of that balance and figure out how to incorporate my family in my business. And I asked Kyla the other day, like, hey, how do I make work fun? Like, you guys riding in the truck with me for 6 hours is not fun. Like, I go talk to a customer for an hour, get back in the truck, and hey guys, we're going to drive for 15 minutes and go talk to another customer like for 15 minutes. And like, that's just no fun. Like, Monday, we're going to go to SkyTook. We're going to go to the lake. We're going to go to the statuary place, have lunch. Like, we'll have a great day Monday. And then we're going to go talk to a customer, look at a job we just finished. But that's not every week. That's not every day. So it's like, how do you find that balance? And, I don't know. But I'm right there on there with you. Well, I know you already answered it. I kind of went off this big, long tangent. But tell me why you want to pay attention to your kids, how you want to pay attention to your kids. What
are they going to say in 10 years?
Oh.
What are they going to say, and what are they going to remember?
Okay, how
did
old
they
are your
remember
kids?
That? Well, they're going to be out of the house in 10 years. So in 10 years, are they going to be like, oh, okay, I interviewed my parents.
But you can't.
Hold on. Maybe this will help. Maybe this will help.
Like, wait. Okay, go ahead.
So I interviewed my parents. I asked them some amazing questions, and I only had about 30 minutes with them. Mm-hmm. And so I had to get 3 to 5 minutes per answer, per question, whatever. And it really got me thinking, because some of those ask them about regret, because they have kids that are between 17 and 30, almost 32. Damn. Almost. And so
you're old, bro.
And so you could,
I can see that white hair.
And it's a couple of them was regret, but a couple of them was like, what do you want to be remembered by? Or what values did you want? Did you see that you instilled in your family?
So that's why
what did you want to instill in your family that didn't? So I got to understand from both of them, like, what did we pick up on as a family and what did we miss out on as a family that you're like, man, I wish we did this, or these were some great memories, or, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to make sure that I don't want my kids to be like, well, I never saw my dad. And they have a complex about that.
Okay, and I get that. They're going to have a complex about something. So I
just got to pick and choose what I want that to be.
Yeah. But I asked that question not because I'm trying to nitpick you, but your kids are how old? 10, right?
9, 10.
9 and 10, right?
1.
Dude, at 19 and at 20, they're going to be assholes. They're not going to care. How old are we right now? And we are just now starting to appreciate what our parents did for us at 7.
It took 30 years to understand
exactly.
That. Yeah. Devin's brain just finished developing.
No, and dude, we're all in the same boat. But I say that because you said, hey, what are our kids going to say in 10 years? It's like, how about let me pose a different
That
question.
was 25. The age of that's 25.
Yeah, I need 2 more years.
Is that where the gray hairs start coming in the family? But I say that because it's like, hey, okay, let's not say 10 years. Let's push it. What are your kids going to say in 20 years? Because it's at that point that they will truly appreciate what you did for them now. Because it's at that point that they'll most likely start to have kids and start to understand the difficult conversations.
My boys are going to appreciate some discipline. They're going to appreciate how to manage money a little bit. They're going to appreciate,
or at least you hope they do,
consistency.
You can't, same movie, different plots.
Yeah, but what are some of the actions and the things that I'm doing now that I'm visioning in 20 years that are going to be instilled in them or envisioned, whatever.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not hating on you. I'm just
I know.
Kids are kids, bro.
Devin, did you have anything to chime into?
I want to know what do you want to focus on?
You kind of answered that question kind of how I wanted to answer it a little bit, of just like my wife, my home life, the kids, because me and Haley had the similar conversation.
Get a little bit closer.
Like, what's that?
Get a little bit closer.
Similar conversation the other day where it was like, I'm constantly thinking about and doing work, and then she's just like you said.
Her work is the kids.
Yeah, her work is the kids in the home.
And they never clock out.
It's like,
never.
When I come home, I'm doing like 10% of that versus like trying to get closer, like 50, it's never 50-50, right? Never. But try to get closer to that or helping with that. Making some days my 90, her 10, right? So focusing on that. And then, like Braedon said, he just interviewed our parents the other day. And so that was kind of interesting.
Did you watch that?
There were some things in there that...
Did you watch it?
There's some answers that they had that I didn't even know, which is crazy. Like you just said, like 26, 32. Like, I don't know if, our other brother and sisters knew some of those answers. Was like, but anyway, so
if you get a chance, do it again.
Yeah,
ask different questions though.
I'm not gonna lie. When I remember talking to my dad, man, before he passed, and one of the things that stuck out to me is like, if you only knew how many times I cried going down that hill. I said, "What? You're my dad. You don't cry. I'm a fucking 30-year-old man. You're my dad. You don't cry." And he's like, "If you only knew how many times I cried leaving in that truck because I didn't want to leave my wife and kids."
When was the last time you cried?
And I'm like, I've probably pretty recently, lately.
2 Fridays ago.
But yeah, I don't keep track.
2 days ago.
But it's just the reality, right? Like there's things that as a kid you don't realize are going on with your parents. So that's why I posed that question of, hey, 20 years,
because they're supposed to be stable,
right? And we are we not?
At least for them, those, at least for those in those kind of home environments,
right.
At least for me, my parents,
right?
They gave me consistency,
right? And that's all you can really hope for. And again, in 10 years, I only say it because I remember being 19 and 20, and I wasn't as big as a douche, I think, as like 14 to 18, but I probably wasn't the most understanding and appreciative child as I am now with my own children growing up. And then I'm like, okay, you know what, man, it's really hard to find yourself while you're trying to raise these little ones, while you're trying to pay the bills. And like, I right now, one of my employees, my niece, I hurt for her to some degree because she just got into the real world, and it's a terrible time to be getting into the real world with inflation the way it is and pay the way it is and everything. Dude, it sucks. But at the same time, it's like, you'll figure it out. And it's so what, and it's like, but our kids are going to go through that. And then you start putting perspective, and it's like, well, I'm going through it, and it's not so bad. Like, I'll figure it out. But it's like, but how many times did our parents have to go through that? Like, how many times did our parents think like, oh, Jesus, here it goes? Or how many times did they even fit the same situation where we are right now, where it's like, hey, the balance isn't there. And you're like, got to find the balance. And it's like, there's never a balance, and it's never 50-50. It's hard. It's hard being, an adult. And I think it's a lot harder whenever you're trying to be really good at everything that you do as an adult. And as a man, you're trying to lead your family. You're trying to be that stability for everybody. I laugh and I joke at Kyla sometimes. I'm like, I love when she gets, I'm going to say emotional, but I don't mean emotional. She just gets passionate, right? When she gets passionate. And I'm like, I love it, because it's like almost you expect my just nonchalantness. Like, I'm just here, calmness. I'm like, and you expect that. And to some degree, I expect your passion, your craziness, and I kind of love it. But it's that balance, right? Of like, it's hard. It's just hard, and to some degree, as a man, you're just like, man. But it feels good when you are that person for them. It's just sometimes it's like, it sucks having to do all this crap, and can I really do it all? But then whenever you do it, you're like, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's why you can count on me. I love being here for my family. I love being that man for my family. It's just sometimes it's hard to find that balance, you know? Like you said, you're always thinking about work when you're at home. And it's like, well, why are you thinking about work? You're at home. It's like, I don't know. I can't stop thinking about it. And then you come home and it's like, and you think about for our wives, and it's like, dude, and like I said, Devin, especially using my wife, it's like they're at home. They don't leave that work environment. Leslie gets off her work environment and goes home. And it's still work for both of you guys, but it's different when they don't get to leave those walls and literally check out and clock out. And for us, yeah, we get to check out and clock out, but mentally we don't, right? We're still
different kind.
But it's
just
different.
Like
it's different, right? It's different. It's not easier. It's just different. But I love that we all kind of are on the same boat of like, man, we're just ideally it'd be nice to figure out a good balance and be there for our loved ones and thinking about the kids, like what are they going to remember, you know? And I always told myself I was going to take Remy to Disney World when she was 7. I never told her that at an age she remembered now, but now that I'm getting older, I'm like, is that really that important? You know, to go to Disney World when you're 7? I'm like, I don't think so.
Probably
you know?
12.
And I don't think so. I think
it's important to travel.
Oh, I agree,
that stuff,
but I don't think the Disney. You guys both know
we went to Disney World.
And
as
me
kids.
too. Me too.
Do you remember that?
Not a shit. Not shit.
Barely.
I
mean,
nothing.
Like
That's
maybe
what
like
I'm
some
saying.
vague memory.
How
What?
old were you?
We did rides.
How old were you?
Preteen.
Okay. How old were you? 7.
He's 5 years.
I would've
7.
been,
5.
Yeah. Like
5,
I.
7.
Yeah.
See? Okay. Same. I don't remember it, and that's what I get at is like I don't remember. But you know what my kids will remember if I move to Mexico for 5 years.
I don't know. They won't remember that you laid in bed with them at night and read a book and cuddled.
Right.
That kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. I love
Like,
that.
I read books to my kids every night.
Subconsciously
like,
little embed
yeah,
in
don't
their
get me
brain
wrong.
forever,
Disney
too.
World for a week or 2 weeks would be cool. But think about the immersion of culture. Think about the experience of living somewhere else.
Do you take them on dad dates?
No. Well, kind of, sort of, but no.
You should.
Once
Once every couple months. Like, take individually, not together.
And I should.
Do that. Just take one to go get Chick-fil-A. Take one to go get ice cream. Like, hey, let's go
Take them to work
to
with
the
me.
to the park. Nope. You have to spend at least 60 minutes, at least 1 hour, where it's just you one-on-one. And those girls are going to remember that shit, and you're going to set that expectation for them as a man. That's what they're going to look for.
Yeah, but see, that's hard because I don't necessarily want to set that expectation for them as a man.
That what? You dedicate time for them to get to know them and talk to them?
Yeah, not necessarily because I don't want them. Not that I don't want them to expect that. I do want them to understand that they should be able to get that.
And they get that quality one-on-one time.
And I get that
outside of the 4 walls.
But as a man, I think there's other priorities. Like there's a man you need to depend on to be able to provide and protect you. And sometimes you're being there to get to know you. Like that's where the trouble is right now. Is it not? Because we're men and we're trying to go out and provide and protect. And a lot of that at this day and age comes down to I go to work and I earn money. And that's how I provide and protect. And that's just the way it is. It's like back in the day, well, I come home and now I'm going to work on building this home for you. Mm-hmm. And I bring this money or I bring this deer home to you, but you're constantly working to provide for them. So yes, to some degree, but like we just bought a house, right? And this person who I've become, which it was on accident, but buy a house and now like I just became this, person. But I'm always doing something at the house, right? Yeah. And Kylie's like, well, you're never just like chill. Like you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you fucking go outside and you start to work. You're always working. You're just constantly like, yeah, right. But I got shit to do. And she's like, but why? I was like, because I feel I
just like you got shit to do when I come home from work.
Right. But I need to be productive and so on and so forth. But it's a way of like producing. I don't want them to set that. I don't want necessarily to be a priority for them to be like, not that I don't want them to set a priority. I guess right now, I want them to understand that, hey, we're still building. Like your mom and I are still young. I don't necessarily have the time to give to your mom. So I can't actually give that to you. I come when I went to the fire station thing not too long ago, 2 weeks ago with them for an hour. I went to a library thing.
Good.
Like I go to stuff with them, but I need them to understand that I can't make them a priority not because I don't want to, but because I'm making yours a priority in a different way.
Sure.
Because maybe in 5 more years, I'll be able to give you that time. So like that time because at that age, you will be more coherent of the time that I'm with you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I could give you all the time in the world right now, but if that all the time in the world is right now all the way through and it's constantly, I can't be at home because I'm thinking about work where we're at right now, I don't want that. I'd rather be like, well, work's taken care of. So what do you want to do today, baby girl? Like, what are we going to do? And I don't have that right now. So it's kind of like, yeah, feelings are important, but
well, no,
I wake up with my back hurting. I got to pay the bills. So I go to work.
I want to remind everyone a little bit about like the Brews and business.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the podcast is to be open, vulnerable, talk about some real shit. Sometimes it's business and strictly business. And we're like, let's talk about some money and how do we manage this? Like get better bookkeeping. We talked a little bit about money, but there's been some other episodes. Like there's some reels that are published right now with Brett Barnhart Excavating from almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we were talking about core values. We're getting a little more personable. And of course, Kyle Sullivan, like some of those episodes, we talked about some similar things like with families and stuff too. And so we really like to not just talk about just the business side of things, not just the money and logistics and everything else too, and be real serious, but we also like to be a little bit personable, talk about some real deep things about whatever, like we're all still human. Like we all have the passions, the aspirations to like build a business and sometimes
build families,
build families falls right behind that, or right in front of it.
Right in
However
front
you
of it.
prioritize it,
The thing is,
and that's, you got to move it.
Yeah, right. That's what I was about to say.
Sometimes it's business, sometimes it's family,
Yep.
and there's no such thing as balance, there's harmony. That's what people said too.
Well, I've been telling people lately, life's good, but business is business. It's just the way it is. Life's good, business is business. We like to talk about life here. And then when we talk about business, we talk about business, but most of the time it's good. I love the different perspectives from everybody. And a lot of times I love that you find out oh, we're kind of in the same boat, same season.
We're all in the same boat. It's ones and zeros.
Right. Yeah. Ones and zeros. Right. And young kids, it definitely is a lot relatable. It's cool. But, yeah, man, it's always a fun podcast.
So if you like today's episode, if you got an opinion, like, comment, share, leave a review. Love to hear what you guys think. Appreciate it. And don't forget to visit brewsandbiz.com where you can get your really badass can glass. And then the pint glass, just another beer drinker with a podcast problem. Cheesy saying, but we like it. It's whatever. And then also use code BREWS for 10% off a bag of coffee. There's subscriptions. There's the Ethiopian blend. There's Nicaraguan, Costa Rican. It's coming out. There's Colombian. There's a lot of different coffees on Gregor's website that you can use that code at Brews for 10% off your order. And until next time, we appreciate you guys. Cheers.
Thank you guys.